Welcome to Center of Light Foundation, your station for divine unfoldment and reinforcement. Good to see you tonight. Hanging out with my friend, Mr. Brian Hardin. He's an alien from another planet. I tell you, I swell you. I love hanging out with my friend. Brian and I go at our time together in this way. Basically, two guys at a bar having a beer, or whatever, a tavern having a beer. And we just go at it and get into these really cool places of brotherhood. Welcome to Center of Light, everybody. Good to see you, Dana. Pri Hapakuku, Rena, Robert, everybody care. I care, I swear. Good to see you all. Welcome to Center of Light. I don't know about you. I know about me. I know me. I know about me. I've been in a lull lately. When I say lull, it's not a mood thing. Love you too. Care. It's not a mood thing. Lull meaning I feel like I'm waiting on something. Well, you're not supposed to wait. I get that. But I feel like I'm in a lobby, waiting for my number to be called. I'll explain that a little more later. Also, my guest tonight, Mr. Brian D. Hardin. The last interview we did was titled clickbait. Doesn't matter. As long as you say the words, you're fine. What was it? Jesus, aliens, and hot crispy chicken. So tonight is Center of Light, horseshoes, bullshit, and hand grenades. It's some saying from my childhood. I never really knew what it meant. Hello, Mary. Hello, Pamela. I never really knew what it meant. So we're going to be presenting you some horseshoes, a lot of bullshit. You can bet on that. Hopefully, the hand grenades will be in a good way, that things will explode and pop inside and turn on some lights. That's what I'm hoping for me. So, welcome to Center of Light Foundation. I did post some links in here for Brian. More contact on him on YouTube as well as his webpage. Go stomp all over his stuff and make a big old stink. Let him know you exist. As well as Center of Light Foundation fundraiser. Here, everything's backwards. Fundraiser. It's doing very well. Please choose to support, and monetary-wise, if that's how you do it, prayer-wise, share-wise, care-wise. Let's all get wise. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest tonight, Mr. Brian D. Hardin. Brian D. Hardin is right there.
What?
You thought I was going to go to the spiel, didn't you, bro?
Where am I?
You're in a black hole.
Oh, am I not here?
Let me refresh my cam. Your cam.
Oh, no.
Hang on a second, then, bro.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you fine, but no.
Oh, well, maybe I'm a sock puppet today.
I think you have your camera muted.
How did I where'd the mute the camera?
I muted it because...
Oh, no.
I love these segments.
Cold. Turn on incoming video. Turn off.
There you have it. Turn on.
No. Audio and video settings. I've never seen this before muted.
You should be there. I tell you what. How about you just hang up and call me? Hang up and get out of Skype and call me back. I'll be here.
All right.
Everyone, tonight is Center of Light, Brian D. Hardin. He's up at his mom and dad's place where the internet connection is not so good. But I love me some B-Rye. Good man, solid man. He's genuine. He knows what he wants. He knows how to get it. He knows how to ease into it. He knows how to ease into bliss. Pri Hapakuku says, Divine Brother, Brain, I always time it right and enjoy you guys' shared lives. Yeah, I love hanging out with Brian. This is going to be good. It's always good. It's because of Brian, ain't because of me. Well, it's only because of me because I have the platform, but that's the guy right there. Let me see what's happening with him. I'm going to try calling him back. Hello, everyone. Please feel free to share this. Well, you're free to share this, of course. You know that. There he is. Broham Sandwich, there he is, that sexy, good-looking man.
I showed up instead of a blue screen. I'm something beyond a blue screen.
How you doing, my friend?
Well, I think I'm better than crappy, but not much. You know,
better than crappy, but not much. Did I hear that correct?
Yeah, getting a little bit better all the time. But yeah, you know, things have been odd for me, so I just keep smiling and laughing. You know, all those principles that you and I speak about, they're good principles, but when you forget your own, you know, spiel of how to be happy or how to be successful, and then suddenly you fall off the horse in the middle of a really great ride. Yeah, I've fallen off the horse
It's
a little
easy
bit.
for it to come off the tongue. It's a little more difficult to take into the ear.
And
We
it's
hear
funny.
it just fine, but you know what I'm saying?
All my friends keep giving me the same advice I would give them, and
Right,
I'm like, oh, I know that, but I'm not doing it. And
right.
it's a
And
funny story.
we attribute that, you know, the I know that and not doing it. They're one and the same. I'm just not doing it. Yeah,
Have you done that before?
it's called life. It's called good morning, sunshine.
Yeah, yeah.
What's happening in your part of the country, bro? I know you're hanging out with your mom and dad right now. What's going on over there? I mean, how is life for you there? Is it obviously it's
It's
different than
very
Los Angeles, but
complex, and it's very complex and ugly, and not as creative as I need it to be, and so it's all going to shift soon. And,
I
I
like.
am so ready to be back to my creative self.
So
And
you know what? You know, I told you in the radio green room, and I did mention it before I brought you into the blue screen. I feel the same way. Like I mentioned to you earlier before the show, I feel like I'm in a lull, and I don't mean emotional, like, though you somewhat described that about yourself. But for me, I feel like I'm just in a lobby waiting for
Mhm.
just to be called. What that is, you know, I don't, and I know a lot of people that I follow, that I think, you know, they got some inspiration, and I want to hear what they woke up to this morning when they were getting up and they heard this in their head. I want to hear what you got to say because I know that you're walking your talk and all that stuff. And a lot of them are saying they have no drive. You know, I just have no drive. You know, I wanted to talk to you today and got up and I woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep, all this and stuff, and but I trudged through it. But I don't feel like, oh, man, I'm talking to Brian tonight. Let me get my stuff together and do my typing and all. I just didn't have that push. Is that kind of where you're meaning as well?
Well, I've just been so stretched away from my normal line of creativity that my normal horse is all creative input, creative output, and making creative connections. So I live creatively. And I've almost been forced to live from a different place, not from my heart, from my head. And in order to drop down back into my heart, everything you and I try to speak about and live the way we try to live, I have to up my game. So I've had to up my game to a whole nother level of all the things that I speak about. And I have forgotten some of my simple principles for reconnecting and remembering and turning on my creative flow, my abundance, my happiness, and how I can manifest. And so it's almost like I want to ask you a question here because
I dare you.
we all do this, and you know, was something you and I kind of talk about is our relationship to God is not just God is up in the clouds, but our relationship to God is the God within ourselves and the God in everything. So there's multiple levels of God, and so when we see attributes or we write out attributes of what this God, whatever you want to call it, is, I just wonder if there's any attributes of any version of God, you know, that you that just like a Cape Crusader would take on the chance to be invisible or something. I wonder if there's something in your versions of God that you would love to be that version of God. You know, there's an attribute.
You're
Do you have
asking that to
anything?
me, or do you mean that
Yeah, yeah.
plurally?
What attribute
Yeah,
of God?
what a fucking delicious, beautiful horseshoe bullshit and hanger net question. That's fantastic. What is happening to me lately is many of us understand it conceptually, but what's integrating is, you know, I look out in the world and look at the horseshoes, people making promises, and the bullshit, not keeping them, and the hand grenades. When you finally bite into it, your freaking head explodes. I get all that, and I don't like it as much as anybody else. But I'm starting to see how things of a horrid nature are actually somewhat beautiful, strange, because God is all of it. You take God completely out, and you can't. No one can argue with this. There's no way out of the corner. You take God out of the entire universe, nothing happens. Nothing exists. All is given permission. If God is omnipresent, present in all places at all times, evil is not excluded. God is present, but what makes it evil is the person experiencing an energy that they don't understand, and they are absolutely afraid. This is what is transpiring in me, and this might be that lull.
So, are you saying the appreciation of good and bad should be equal or balanced? That
Absolutely. In
that
fact, the bad needs
the
to be more
thanks for the
appreciated.
yeah.
Yeah, Brian, the bad needs to be more appreciated because that's where the wound is, isn't it? And doesn't the child want to be supported, loved, and nurtured and well raised, exalted with what we are calling the bad? Who and what anything in the universe wants to be called, you're bad. That's just scolding and smiting. And so this is what is integrating inside of me, and it's starting to get a little wonky because I'm leaning more into what I never knew before, and that it's becoming true is a little frightening. Right?
So you know how your son, you do your greatest to raise your son and make his life easy, and so all the problems you had as a kid, you don't want him to have the same problems and trip over the same things, and so you
Yeah.
work your butt off really hard, but no matter what, you still end up having moments where he looks at you like you're an idiot or whatever, right? So
No one
well,
said
this is
better.
just human nature. Yeah, just
Yeah.
human nature. So then, so when we look into trauma, individual, personal, it's so weird. Like my all right. So as a child, everybody in the world has these moments where you were 3 months old or 6 months old, and your mom just decided to stop breastfeeding you, and then finally fed you a bottle. Well, that was traumatic. That was a trauma moment. You were abandoned for that little thing. Or the way we were raised, quite often, you're taught that you let the baby cry, just let them cry themselves to sleep, right? And so that's another level of abandonment. And there's many other traumas that happen to you that might be minuscule to the outside person, but to the person experiencing it for the first time, it's traumatic. It's horrible. So when we judge someone else's trauma or problems and like just get over it, um, I'm not so sure, because I'm not so sure that's the medicine they need. Sometimes what they need, or what we all need, is to actually just to vent, to be listened to be hugged.
And
And
have a
so,
hug. Have a
yeah,
hug. Yeah.
yeah,
You know, you spoke about trauma. Just think about the weight coming from the realm of light, and now you cloak this baggage of skin, and the pressure. Being musicians, we know about compression.
yeah.
You go from this wild, vast, unbridled being to being compressed. And what does a compress? It holds frequency down and squashed into this density. That is traumatic. Hence, the baby cries. What the fuck is this? Right?
Mhm.
So yeah, and so what you asked me earlier about, that big question about God. For me, it's this integration of understanding what we all know, but it's when you get to that place that you're ready to take a bite of this cookie. And this cookie is to no longer blame Build Back Better Biden, or blame the Trump, or blame the whoever. And I get it. And I fall in those lulls. I get into those wonky places myself. But it doesn't go anywhere. And every time I treat myself that way, I realize it's not going anywhere. I can yammer, bitch, moan, and complain all I want, even to myself in my head, what I don't like. These bad people. And it's detrimental. And so I'm removing myself and looking at the bad as probably better than the good, because that's where all the nuggets are. for expansion, that is. The nuggets for expansion are in the bad.
Hmm.
Bring me the bad shit.
Yeah.
That's sort of where I am at.
So they say crisis is an opportunity to learn and grow. So really, it's just how are you reacting or responding or remembering? And the members you're reconnecting or religion, you're reconnecting, are the members are the mind, the body, the spirit. And so the mental way of most of us dealing with problems is just to scream back with our ego, like, if you're a screaming baby, you don't just scream. You scream back at the baby and try to reason with it with logic. And if you're in the physical mode, the body mode, you don't just spank the baby and beat it up. Really, what the baby wants is attention, and it wants a hug. It wants love. That's the spiritual way. And so what we all have, usually in our screaming baby mode, it doesn't matter if you're 80 years old or 8 years old, we have screaming baby modes, is we want attention, and we want loved, and we want connection, and we want appreciation, and we want to be held and hugged, not yelled at, not spanked. We need love. And so that's in the mental way, scream at them; physical way, spank them; and the spiritual way is to love them. And so really it's get to that point of remembering to love. Right?
That so perfectly describes the raising of my son. With some of my background still in me, 17 years ago. At first it was just a little pop on the hiney. I mean, literally, no harder than that kind of thing. I get it, creates an attention, and then the other couple of times after, I realized on the third time, I am never going to do this again. This is just not the way.
It hurts you
just
more
not,
than them.
Yeah, right. And I just knew. And from then, as I'm raising my son, I would always get down to my knees so I can be the same height with him. So he didn't see me as this overlord towering over him as some sort of smiting God with this big fist kind of thing. And I've always told him, you follow my lead, I'll give you everything you can possibly want. Sounds like bribery. Well, bribery to raise a great kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that the discipline is making them a disciple and not disciplining them.
Wow.
A disciple as the steward. That's the right word.
And
you
yet,
don't own your child. You're a steward.
And yet part of the balance of that was your child, just said in the story, taught you how to no longer punish in the bad way. So disciple for that round, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 And he is smart as a whip.
One time I was working with Deepak Chopra, and I did media for him. And so he would come into the back of the room and he would say, so what am I teaching on today? These were like a week-long events. And so he says, so what am I teaching on today? I got the little piece of paper and it said, oh, it looks like you're teaching about judgment. And so he goes, all right, well, he goes up in front of everybody for about 1 hour and he says that don't judge yourself and don't judge others. It just leads to misery. That the judgment and comparison just leads to misery. And he speaks about this for 1 hour. And everybody's excited and happy after the hour. And at the end, everybody goes to dinner. And he comes back to the back to where I am. And he says, so how did I do? He was wanting me to judge him. And I laughed so hard and I fell to the ground laughing. And he's like, what are you laughing at? I said, I'm laughing at you. He said, oh, I need to listen to myself more often. And we're all that way. It doesn't matter, all the lessons you and I teach or speak about, we're still learning them every day, aren't we? I mean, I'm muddling my way through life, and I feel like everybody on the planet's muddling their way through life. And we have good days and bad days where we'll make less mistakes. And when we're open to it, I actually made a couple films with some people that were kind of spiritual, and I watched them stop and smell the roses. I watched them mentally have a open mind enough to learn from the children, to learn from the dogs, to learn from the butterfly, or learn from the flower. You learn from everything. And so to really be conscious, you have to see your relationship to all, literally everything, to your relationship to the cup of coffee, and really savor it and enjoy it. I mean, how many more cups of coffee am I going to have in my life? Who knows? Right? So I better enjoy this one, right? Yeah.
The playing field's even. That's the integration I'm speaking about. The playing field is even. I like coffee, lots of sugar, some cream. You may not. You may like coffee, no sugar, no. However, the combination, or you may not like it at all. So for you, if you're not a not like it at all person, coffee bad. But for a person who likey coffee good, that's that integration way of not really per se seeing it as a concept, but moving into the squeeze, becoming one with it. It may take eons or lifetimes, but this period that we're living in is the gift. We're all boogered and bothered and mad. I get it. I have my moments. We're boogered, bothered, and mad. But this period we're living in is the gift. So we can get through our cosmic boogered, bothered, or mad. Mm-hmm. So we can go back. It's not enough only just to go back, because we're all going to go back even when we perish. The trick, the gift, the promise is we can go back while we are here. So we can have this heaven on earth experience, which is I can walk around and be Swamiji or Sai Baba or Jesus or Buddha or Krishna, and I can fly like Neo, but live in a physical way so we can share and express our differences, accept, allow, and appreciate those. The gig is unity. It's always unity. Everyone is a fragment of the whole. So if we're going back to the whole, we have to defrag ourselves and come back as one so we can experience the whole, which is the heaven and earth.
I always thought the word holy should be spelled with a W, H-O.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Holy.
There are derivatives. There are actual word plays grammatically in the dictionary about what you just said and the truth of it, that they are connected. They are whole and holy. And even if you add the word whole, H-O-L-E, the whole. It's a whole. It's void. It's nothing. It's space. They're all interconnected. I love the English language so much. It's so great and delicious.
Yeah, it is.
You been recording, bro?
Well, you know when they say spelling is casting a spell. So the words, when you really start to connect to the words and sometimes the portion of the word, you start to really understand the meaning behind everything. So when we say meaning two, communication, cooperation. It takes two people to work together or to connect or whatever, and then remember is, putting back to the, and so start to look into those words. It starts to be fun and help you find the deeper, simple understanding. And I don't know if it was Einstein, one of those said, that if you can't explain it to a third grader, you really don't know what you're talking about, And so I try to whittle down most of my spirituality to the dumbest possible thing, Like the Bible should probably just say, don't be a dick.
Sure. Or only what Jesus said. Only what Jesus said. Just take everything else out.
Yeah.
It should just let the master speak.
Yeah.
And then you have true scripture, in my opinion. A lot of it was conjecture, a lot of it was objective, a lot of it was subjective. I mean, and the truth gets muddled with a lot of nonsense. And then the Council of Nicaea in the late 300s comes along and they rearrange the entire Bible and translation of translation after translation.
And then from those 800 versions, that was King James. That's when it became thee, thy, and thou. I remember the first time the Bible was read to me, thee, thy, and thou. I'm like, so this guy in the Middle East named Jesus, had said thee, thy, and thou, and had Paul, John, Mark, Luke, like in the Middle East, for real?
Right,
Yeah.
white names with brown
Come on,
skin.
man.
And you know what? All the different translations. And I understand translation because you want people in other dialects and tongues to understand it. Words innocently get lost without manipulation or trying to fudge or control. Words actually are tough to translate as it's spread across the language boards or the languages board. But there was a lot of conscious influence of saying, we don't want you to know about certain things. And so it actually, the book of the Bible to me, sort of, no, I'll just say it blatantly, it taints the life of Jesus. The innocent, beautiful man soul. He was a man for many years, declared, I am a messenger of God. He came to the realization, I am a son. You are my brother. Well, that doesn't change anything. It's all the same platform. But I think that the life of Jesus is more sacred than what is actually told. And some people truly adhere to the only what has been told versus the other beautiful possibilities that are just simply waiting to be seen, appreciated,
Do you think
tasted.
Jesus could be an alien? Could have been an alien?
Absolutely. Well, we're all aliens. We don't come from the earth. We
Exactly.
come through the earth. The birth canal of the earth, Gaia, is the same birth canal of your mother, which is the same canal of the cosmos. So, yeah, we're all aliens, but even though we come from wherever that is, which is definitely an inner plane to here, we're alien in the sense that as we are on this place, we're trying to get back somewhere else. But humanity is not alien to this planet, though we are part of humanity. Humanity as a title is not alien to this planet because this planet was created for humanity. And the vanity and the bullshit, horseshoes and hand grenades that we're going through are to bring us to that place of unity. All this stuff is being used as a bridge or an instrument to bring us to that saving grace.
What is the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song or whatever that it might have been Joni Mitchell's song, but it was "We Are Stardust." We are trying.
Oh, that's Woodstock.
Yeah, Woodstock.
Well, I came upon the child of God. He was walking along the road, and I asked him, "Sir, show me Mr. Tomei." Yeah.
Yeah,
What a
that's
what a great
song.
choice, man. Yeah,
What
absolutely.
lyrics too.
Yeah, they were out there or in there.
All right, so did you actually answer the question about if you had any attributes of any version of God? Doesn't matter what version of God, but any attributes that you'd like to incorporate into the version of yourself right now, what would they be? You know?
Yeah. One would be absolute abundance. That is something that's been near and dear to me recently. One, because it is a challenge. Two, it's a self accolade. It's a mountain. It's a goal. By all means, I am actually where everything is wonderful, fine, peachy, and cozy. I choose a deeper level of that, a greater level of that. So I've been working on the aspect of abundance in the form of wealth, prosperity, abundance on all levels. That is the aspect I've truly been working not on, but working in, dialing in the frequency of, to where there's no more worry, effort, strain, or even gain. I just know that I'm in this frequency, is to tune into everything is always perfect,
Even when it's not.
even when it's not.
Even
That's
when it's
right.
not.
That's right.
Everything's perfect.
Because even when it's not has to do with me doing the work, not what's really going on. It has to do with what I think is not going on.
So in Hinduism and in the yoga, the chakras and so on, they have the seven chakras, and at the throat chakra, they consider that they call them sutras, and but with the heart chakra, actually let's start with the heart, but I'm going to really get to the throat. The heart chakra is peace, harmony, laughter, and love. Peace, harmony, laughter, and love. And actually, the one below it is actually interesting. That one is your solar plexus, and that's basically like thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What that is desire, what you desire, it was right there. Intention, what your intention is for that desire, will to do it, the will to do it, will and destiny. Thy kingdom come, that the kingdom that you desire will come to you if your will to do it is strong enough. Thy will be done on earth physically as it is in heaven, your spirit. And so your spiritual destiny becomes part of that. And then your heart, so that's right here at your solar plexus. The next one up is your heart, and your heart's peace, harmony, being in connection and harmony with nature and by everybody and everything, peace, harmony, laughter, and love, and then that starts to open the whole channel for you. And then here's the throat chakra. This is what I'm getting to for you. And we do this. We call up our friends. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. And see, no, you're not. I can hear it in your voice, right? Yeah, I'm doing good. No, you can hear you're locked up, right? And you're choking on your words, right? You're choking on your words. So we do this with singers. In fact, you do this when you're singing. You drop into this round, rich tone and you let things go. So when your throat chakra is right, your harmony of all your chakras start to get more right. And so when you get in alignment right, the throat goes right, or when the throat goes right, the rest of us go right, meaning we get in harmony with our frequency of ourselves. So in the throat chakra, here's where it is. Desire, excuse me, affluence. It's affluence. That's what we're talking about. Affluence. So being affluent, and affluence shouldn't be only limited to me. Because you go back to that intention down here. When your affluence is, I need another Ferrari, I need a different color Ferrari, when your affluence has a purpose behind it and an intention behind it, it starts to open up your throat. Because when you start to open up the channel, that you need abundance so you can give abundance. And so you can bring joy to others. You can share the message, the gifts that you have on the planet with others. So affluence shouldn't be a selfish thing. It should be a we thing, giving. So affluence is one of those. Affluence, abundance is the next one. And that's so much abundance that you have so much storehouse to give away. And when you hoard all that, lock it all up, it's like taking 40,000 rolls of toilet paper and filling your house up with toilet paper. You can't walk through the house anymore. You can't do your business anymore. You can't even get through it. So sometimes when we hoard in our dreams and visions and manifestation, we lock ourselves up with that abundance. We don't give it away. So when you're back to the intention down here, when our intention is clear, your desire, your intention, your will to do it, and your destiny is there, then your abundance starts to open up. So affluence, abundance, and here's the next one, the third one, the big one, discernment. And discernment is a funny one. Discernment is who are you giving it to? Who are you connecting with? And they say you're about as rich and about as creative and about as kind and about as cool as the top 5 people you're hanging out with. And I've heard a funny saying that, if you're depressed, maybe you got to just look around at who you're hanging out with. And if you're hanging out with a bunch of jackasses, that might be why you're depressed. So you might want to up your game. So, if you're in a band with 4 people that are just making lousy music, you're going to make lousy music. And so when you up your game to suddenly I'm connecting with other people that are wanting and desiring to give and abundant and flow, and they have gifts that you don't even have, then you can watch them and get better, and you can give them some of your gifts. So up your game. So affluence, abundance, discernment, and the other one that's part of that is creativity. Your creativity. It's all right here in the throat chakra. And so your creativity. So are you really, what are you creating? Are I would just want to create money for myself. Well, it's probably not going to happen very easily. It's going to be a wrestling match, and as easily as it shows up, it might just disappear that easy. So when you create something that's good for the world or good for it starts to stick. And so
It's
if we start,
denser. It has a lot more meaning, so it makes it a lot more true, a lot more quicker.
yeah.
Right. Love it. Please continue.
Oh no, I mean that's pretty much, that's a good enough.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because when I no lo- when you make it when I don't make it about me, well, it takes the me to do it. I get that, and you deserve what you need to get for yourself. I get all that. But when the fundamental nature of what you're doing is about that, and again, I want to support Brian. Something else the throat chakra is about speaking. It's about
Yeah.
expression, the power of the spoken word, the power to create affluence. So when you begin to open up this center of yourself, things begin to become thick. Like, you can want things for yourself, and that's all cool. You want the parking space, great. What makes it a little even more great is if you want the parking space because you're going to do something with the parking space that you want so bad. What are you going to do with that? Maybe to help other people. So it almost, so to speak, guarantees you're going to get what you want a lot quicker. Because it's not about you, it's about everyone, which is the power is in the collective. So automatically, immediately, you get everyone on your side. Now, the thing you may be asking for may take however long it needs. There is a period of learning, turning, burning, churning, yearning to get to that place. It's that's the whole thing of it. It's a game. We're doing this because we eternally have been bored, just sitting and eternally. The angels are pretty and they sing really good. I want to go down to earth and get on the roller coaster, man. And so we slam into these traumatic experiences, come out into this dense meatball, only to get panked on the hiney when you do something bad. I think we're doing pretty good.
All right, so let me add to what we just said: desire, intention, will, destiny, peace, harmony, laughter, love, and then affluence, abundance, discernment, in creativity. So here's your add to that, because all that you just said is stretched it further. Now we go to what you and I talk about a lot too. You can think it into being. You can work physically it into being, or you can believe it. So the physical is this work thing. The mental is all this dreaming. And so when often people talk about manifest, just think it and it's going to show up. No, you got to feel it. You actually literally have to feel it. And you and I talked about the first time you and I were ever connected. I don't know, 5 years ago or 7 years ago. I don't know when we started connecting, but
It's been a while,
about,
bro. It's been a while. And you're right. Feeling is none of everything else, it falls behind feeling. If you can dial in the feeling, like you're saying, it's yours.
yeah. And then, because ultimately, I mean, I think you and I talked about these funny stories of like Lamborghini or Ferrari or something. You want the red Ferrari. Yeah, you want the red Ferrari. At some point in the process of getting the red Ferrari, it's not the red Ferrari you're after. It's the feeling that you have once you get in the Ferrari. I'm someone special, and then you attract attention that way by I am someone special, because you finally start believing you are someone special. And without the Ferrari, you didn't believe it. So if you start to believe you are someone special and you have something to give the world, and you really want to improve the world and share your gifts with the world, then all of a sudden that manifestation, that intention, that desire, it starts opening up. Your will to
It's another level of power.
Yeah.
It's another level of power. Basically, God, if we will, says, I think he's starting to understand. Let me give you a little more power. See what you do with that.
Uh-huh.
And so we'll realize it's okay to want what you want, but in the inclusion of other people, in other words, get what you want, ask for what you want, ask and you shall receive. Now, how can I use this red Ferrari to help other people? Maybe I can use it as a teaching tool. And now the universe says, we can let you use this teaching tool to help others. Sort of idea. This has been my whole life for 30 years. I went through a dark night of the soul. Long story short, we all know Keith's that story.
Oh,
But it's
poor
changed.
Keith.
It's changed everything for me. And even in the dark night of the soul, in the evil and darkness that it seemed it was, in hindsight, it is the most sacred thing. That's one of the most sacred things that's ever happened to me. So that brings us back to horseshoes, bullshit, and hand grenades. Sometimes we put on our horseshoes, we have horsepower, and we trudge through the mud, and then we get slammed with a whole bunch of bullshit, and we bite into it. Sometimes it pays off, and sometimes we're in debt, and it becomes hand grenades. This is the time we're living in. Right now, we've been in a lull for a while. We went to some cray-cray, some, believe it or not, well-deserved, locked up cray-cray. The earth needed it, that's for sure. It gave her a collective breath, to collect her breath. It gave us all the same breath. Strangely, through this lockup, the world simply became united.
Mm-hmm.
People all over the world singing to each other on balconies in Italy because, we're going crazy being locked up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the locking up is what gives us the opposite reflection of what that is, which is liberation. We had enough. And right now we've been in a lull since the whole coronage subsided. Now they're trying to hit us in the face, sling monkey shit in our face. My apologies. However anyone feels. To me, it's monkey shit. I'm expressing myself. It's monkey shit. So all that being said, this lull that we in, get your breath, get your provisions, and I don't mean out of fear. Don't go to the store and buy everything in the store, a whole bunch of toilet paper. I mean, get your provisions, Get yourself together. Because another round is coming in. The beast is going to, while we get our breath to exhale and breathe a little bit in this lull, the beast is collecting its breath for another haul. Mm-hmm. It's coming back around 2023. You can bet.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking up right now this saying that I used to speak about with you, and I want to read it to everyone. But it might take me a second here. So,
bro, take your time, man.
Let's see. Here we go. So, I'm just gonna read it out loud here. So, first of all, it says this is just somebody else wrote this, and I actually am friends with many Hopi and some Hopi elder friends of mine that have passed away. I talked to them about this. And this is attributed to an unnamed Hopi elder in the Hopi Nation, Araibi, Arizona. But what my one Hopi elder friend who's passed away said is this might have been an elder named Lanza. It might have been from the 1950s or 60s. He was the chief, or in some level. And I don't know. But it's a beautiful writing, even if no one Hopi wrote it. Now, Hopi Indians are out there in Arizona, and they have 3 mesas. And I've happened to do some ceremonies with them over the years and had an incredible time, and I learned a lot from them and their connection to the earth and each other. And They've been known to speak of the end of the world, and in their Hopi elders, they have a thing called Prophecy Rock, and within the lead up to 2012, everyone is saying, "Oh, it's the end of the world," and the Hopi and many other indigenous cultures were actually saying it's not the end of the world, it's the end of the world as we know it. And there's a Hopi elder named Thomas Binyaka, who was spoke at United Nations back after we finally got the ability to destroy the entire planet with nuclear weapons. He spoke that this power to destroy the whole thing was prophesized by the Hopi, and it needed to no longer We needed to raise our consciousness to not destroy each other and destroy the planet. So uh, this might have come back right in the 1950s. It might have been leading up to 2012. I've seen this same quote written up that it was the year 2000. I don't know. But it's about 4 paragraphs, and it's sort of good for any day. Um, and it ends with what that guy Thomas Binyaka said at United Nations. He said, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." So let me read you what it all says. And there's the punchline. I'm going to give the punchline first. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And so here's what it says. You have been telling people that this is the 11th hour, meaning the end of times. You've been telling people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour and that there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Because water's life. Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to seek your truth. Create your community. Be good to each other. Do not look outside of yourself for the leader. Then he clasped his hands together and smiled and said, "This could be a good time. There is a river flowing now very fast as the energy rises. There is a river flowing now very fast, and it is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore in the spot that they're used to. They will try to hold on to the shore, and they will feel that they are being torn apart, and they will suffer greatly. Know that the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, the place that we're so used to. We must let go of the shore and push off into the middle of the river and keep your eyes open and our heads above the water. And I say, see who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves, banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. So that's the piece. Did you get it? You know? Are you there? Did I lose you? I think I lost you. Are you there? I think I lost you.
That hit me hard.
Yeah. Good.
Beautifully.
So anyway,
I don't think I've ever heard any finer words than that.
Yeah. And this might have been the 1940s, right after the nuclear blast. It might have been any time since then. But my understanding from the Hopi elders that I've spoken to is this probably happened more like back. But it's been written, on the internet as 2000 or 2006 or something, but it's not. Yeah.
That was so powerfully amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the words. I heard everything but the words. In your, congrats to you, in your reading it, I felt you channel the spirit of it as to why it affected me. That I didn't hear your words. I heard your love for it.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah, bro. What you got coming down the pike for you, bro? What's happening? You're still in that lull like me. I get it, but anything on the horizon?
I've got brilliant things happening with uh, music, film, television, um, photographs that I own that were of 7,000 rock star celebrities. A friend of mine left me. I've got creative ideas. I've got my own podcast. I've got health and wellness websites and ideas that are going. I've got marketing and finance things. And so I kind of feel like when you're creative in one way, you start to be creative in all ways. And if you're in a hole, uh, you start by cleaning out your drawer, one drawer, and then clean out the closet the next day. And then it starts unlocking things. And at some point you start discovering, oh, I found my new thingy, right? That I used to love. And then you start playing with the thingy and then creativity shows up. And then when your creativity, suddenly you're playing guitar, and then suddenly you're playing bass, and then you're playing piano, and then you have a TV show idea, and then you want to shoot video, and then you start taking photos, and then creativity, and then your money shows up, and you have a restaurant idea, and then uh, suddenly a great new menu or recipe idea, and they all start flowing. So I think for me, when you are creative, it's contagious. Everything's contagious. So if I sit there and just watch TV and take in crap, then I start to be crap. And if I start to actually put out something or make something or dream something, it starts to manifest, and it actually gets contagious within myself and within my community, my relationships, and so on. Everybody starts doing it. And the great part is when you have a community that everybody's dancing and dreaming and creating as big and hard as they are. And so, what we said earlier, if your five best friends aren't challenging you to be better, then maybe you need five new best friends. You need to up the game.
You're right.
And get the new band and get everybody. Because you look at those great bands that we loved musically, like they were stacked.
It just
incredible
seems
guys.
it just seems gone. I know it's not gone. I can grab a Zepp album or a Styx album or whatever your favorite flavor is, some Guess Who, and I can America, or whatever your flavor is. That's cool. But the industry, and I understand technology because I'm a technology
Everybody wants to
junkie.
do it
Alone.
yeah.
And yeah, where's the human mistakes, man? That's a great mistake. No, should I do it again? Hell no, I'll do it again. That's the color of the song right there. But that seems so lost, and hopefully that in our
Well, it's
our
not with me.
lifetime,
I demand that every artist I
it
work
has to
with,
be
that every artist I work with attempts to sing the final vocal while they're playing the
righto,
rhythm guitar while the band is
righto.
playing. I
So you've
attempt.
been recording?
Oh yeah, I do that all the time. It's so some days I do a pile of different things, and yeah, a band might come over and record three songs while I also write a TV show or come up with an idea
I
or
have a TV show idea that
yeah,
when, not if,
yeah.
but when you and I get rich, it's going to be sort of like what's that show on Discovery or whatever channel, hunters. We can call it God Hunters in Search of the Truth, and we go to the Himalayas because we were told there's a man that lives up there who can does whatever.
Mhm.
Or we go to Africa and find this shaman that supposedly is known in the region because he can da 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 da. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That
So,
would
when was the last time? How many movies did you make with the Dalai Lama? Was it two?
too, too. But I got something to tell you about the God Hunters.
Oh, tell me.
Really, all of us need to find God right here, just inside.
Absolutely.
you know and God isn't out there. It's not up in the
No.
clouds. It's right here, and it's in your relationship or community. The re or the co, it's the connection with all each other. And I don't think by being alone in the Himalayas for 14 years is going to bring me closer to God as well as going and living in Skid Row in LA. If I go live on Skid Row, I probably will have deeper, faster relationships. So, in which will lead me to a different
Yeah,
level of
right.
God. So
Right.
Deepak Chopra, we talked about Deepak. Um, he said that there was this guy who lived in Vegas, and he was a book writer. And this guy said, "Oh, Vegas is the most spiritual city in all the world." And Deepak's like, "What are you talking about? That's crazy. It's where all the crap happens, you know." And he says, "No, no, no. When you come to Vegas, a prostitute is proud of being a prostitute. A gambler is proud of being a gambler, and they are living their experience. And a drug dealer is a drug dealer, and an addict's an addict, and they can be who they want to be. And what happens is it's a fast road. They don't have to hide behind these things. It's the fast road to having a big experience. And
Love
after
it.
only a few months or whatever of being at that level, they give up and then they learn their lesson and grow. So it's a great place to
I
grow
love it.
because,
That is a new integration for me, Brian. Thank you for the validation of saying that.
yeah,
It's there's nothing we really want is to be except to experience, and we want to be conscious fully in every experience, which means there's no more hiccups. In other words, here's an experience, here's an experience, here's an experience, to where there's this gradation of endless, that river, the experience. That's God. It's conscious experience. Nothing else is real but you and your experience. It's the experience. That is, it's experiential. To me, that is true spirituality. Is not just having something happen, and then in hindsight we go, "This is an experience I had last week." It's too late. It's a week too late. But being in the moment as it's going down gives us conscious power because I'm here. I don't look back in 2 weeks and go, "Oh, this happened. Let me tell you this dramatic story." Y'all never believe what happened to me. Well, when I become conscious in my experience 2 weeks in the future, I will never say, "Oh my God, let me tell you this dramatic story. You never believe what happened to me." That shit never happens because you're conscious. The trick we all need to master is to open up that window to where we're always conscious, and there is no other way back to the garden. Yeah, we get graces and we get boosts, but in the long run, it's always about making a conscious choice. So when we can integrate so fully that God is truly me, it's me. In fact, none of you exist. It's me.
all right.
When
So
you begin to
I
live in
got
this
some
place,
questions.
go ahead.
What is awareness to you? What is consciousness to you? Can you explain being aware of awareness or how that works?
Awareness is dominant. Awareness is priority. Awareness is the base. Awareness is the infinite grace that simply just is. God is aware of itself. From our perspective, consciousness has to develop itself to a level to understand what the bed is, which is awareness. Awareness is infinite. It always is. People are not always conscious or consciousness. We're always in consciousness, but it takes our deliberate it's a conscious choice to expand to greater degrees, to where the consciousness actually falls greater into awareness. They're very wonky words to sort of interchange and try to make subtle differences. But for me, awareness is the ongoing, the ever present thing. Consciousness can be used as a vehicle to understand that infinite presence, that infinite awareness. I don't know how that worked for you, but I'm still
All right,
fishing.
I get it. All right, so then number two, if could you tell me anything that you're doing new or even old that you remembered or reconnected to that is a physical action that you do to reconnect or remember or whatever? Is there anything new or old that you're doing as a habit, as a practice to get there?
I'm doing that with you right now. And thank you for that. I
Mhm.
needed to be asked that question so I can see that for myself, to integrate it a little further.
Mhm.
I've been doing this for however long. However long, it doesn't matter. Point is, this is what I do. I use my will, my God fire, to connect to the absolute clarity that I can muster in any given moment and I take action. I sit here and I use this platform to reach people and have them reach me back. And I put all, not only myself, my time and my heart into it. I was going to share with you earlier. I think I'm at the level. I've shared this with you many times, but I think it's real. I'm done playing music. I'm done. The thought of someone calling a $high gig tomorrow, I'll go do it. You can bet. Hey Keith, I need to sit in and they pay me the wage. I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm using these different opportunities to leverage up, to ratchet up, to level up. But I do it all the time. Just Center of Light Foundation. That's where I put all of my energy into physically and on every possible level.
So, do you believe that what I talked about earlier about when I start to play the music and then I start to write the ideas and it's all of a sudden my creativity goes multiple times? This works for me. That
Totally.
I don't put all my eggs in one basket. My basket is creativity. So suddenly when I'm really, really creative, and I could be so busy on those creative days that I don't have that much time. You would think I wouldn't have that much time, but my level of doing things like cooking or cleaning or the meticulous way I fold my clothes after I do laundry ups their game. But when I have nothing to do all day but fold a pile of clothes and wash a few dishes, I usually go to sleep with the clothes all balled up in a basket and the dishes still dirty. But when I'm so busy creating, I create everything at a higher level. Do you feel that?
Yeah, and to answer your question, and I loved your analogy. For example, I want to do something creative today. Okay, so I'm looking around. I want to record. Where is that plug I'm looking for, right? I don't know where it's at. Shit. I need this plug to connect my headphones so I can cut some tracks. I don't have this plug. A few days later, decide I'm going to clean out that drawer that you were talking about. Pull the drawer open. Then it brings forth the plug. Then I can start cutting some tracks and so forth and so on. Yeah, so I think that creativity doesn't only apply to the task at hand. It opens up other possibilities of staying in creativity mode for sure. What do you have there, sir?
It's a Gretsch.
It's a wow, it's an old one, isn't it? Can you strum it?
Gretsch New Yorker. I don't. I never wanted this particular model. I'd never even seen it before. Right. And it was on sale. Somebody sold it locally for $225, and it's like a $700 or $800 guitar, more than that. I don't know.
What year is it? Do you know?
It's probably a newer one, but I just kind of fell in love with Gretsch's years ago. I've got an old vintage Gretsch drum kit. This is a newer one, and so my intention is to actually trade this for the guitar I really want, which is another Gretsch. Big whammy bar and all this stuff, but I cheat. So I don't do creativity like everybody else, right?
Can you strum it?
Well, yeah, of course. So let me just show you this. I don't know how to do my left hand in all these incredible chord change ways, and all these little things, and I don't want to learn that. I just want to find something that sounds good, right? So what I'll do. And the lowest note on a guitar, I don't know if this is in tune. I hope it is. But the lowest note on a guitar is usually way higher than I tune this. I usually tune every guitar of mine to something really, really, really low. And I'll tune that first one to something as low as the guitar will resonate. And then I tune the next one up to something that's in harmony with it. And so what I'm getting to is this is how I live my life too. Find that round where the body of the guitar
you go, bro.
Where the body of the guitar resonates, and the lowest note where it starts to feel good, and then I find something that's in harmony with it. And on this one, it's an octave. Now they're not probably in tune.
That's right, but I understand.
Let's see what the other ones. Now I don't know what I tune this to, so.
That's
Now watch.
a 9,
I slide over to a bar chord.
right?
So I end up getting these chords that I don't know what I'm doing. If it's so I don't know how to put my hand in that. I know how to put a line across here. And so I
Right.
end up writing these things, and then I play them for musicians like yourself, and I say, what chord is this? And there's that's it's got a augmented fifth and a diminished seventh on it. I'm like, I don't know, it's cool, you know. And so then I write these songs from a place of what I feel and not what I think. I'm not
Right.
trying to write a diminished fifth and an augmented seventh. I don't know all that stuff. I don't want to know that stuff. I just want to know it feels good. And so my level of creativity is, does it feel good? Yum or yuck? And so I don't know if you've ever cooked in the kitchen and you don't have what the recipe is. You just start grabbing stuff and sticking it together. I kind of make music like that. I just start sticking stuff together, and then you taste it and like, what's it need? Well, a fancy chef might add all this paprika and all this other extra stuff and saffron, but maybe what you and I like to do is just grab some ketchup and just dump some ketchup on top of it, and then, and that's what it is. And so sometimes the music I make is just a bunch of ketchup over top of chocolate ice cream. I don't know. It's just whatever happens. And
My go-to is onions and garlic.
Yeah. But why? You know why? They're both healing. The garlic
Yeah,
is
they're very
healing.
good for
Onions too.
antiseptics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian, we
I agree with
we
you.
passed the hour, my brother. What you got for us? What you want to leave us with? What kind of bang you got?
Well, I mean, if the real truth is the onions and garlic, probably that if you're going to cook anything, you should start with onions and garlic. Even
Yeah.
if you don't know what you're going to cook, just take some onions and garlic and put some butter in, and just slice it up, and everybody will come running in and go, "Wow, you're the greatest chef in the world," and you're like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just cooking up onions and garlic. But the energy of that will open up your nasal passages, open up everything, and you'll love that. And it's so I'm telling you, it's sort of like doing that with music, or with art or anything else. So when all this is contagious, and it's contagious within myself, so fear is contagious or love is contagious, and so my love for I just want to make some goofy vibrations with the music, and so I make these weird little things, and they're a totally different guitar, and I don't know what it's tuned to. Same thing. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Keith knows.
I like the tremolo. Crimson and clover.
I don't know what it is.
and over.
But I can write that song in a matter of seconds just because
Sure.
I tuned it to something weird. I'm cheating, right? So I cheat in my life because I just want yum. So sometimes I cook and I cheat. I put the ketchup on, and that's what I wanted. And it's like yum.
And it's easy. It's a go-to, and it's honest. It's you being yourself. That reminds me of a video of Motley Crue.
Mm-hmm.
Years hence, Motley Crue's doing a concert, and Vince Neil, his belly's out to here, and he's tired, and he's pushing, and he's so breath-winded, he can't even sing the words. He's literally going, and then people are making fun, and one of my guitar players friends said, at least it's honest.
Yeah.
At least it's honest, he's an old cat, man. He's pushing his 60s or whatever. He's God knows what he ingested throughout his life, but it's honest. So yeah, honesty's a good place. That's
Keith,
why
I'm pushing 60. You know that?
What's that,
I'm 58.
bro? I'm 58.
Yeah.
When's your birthday, bro?
1963, October 18th. I'm a Libra.
You are a month and 15 days older than me.
I'm the balancer. I'm the Libra balancer.
Right?
Yeah. How about that? So I've done some astrology in our thing. If you look at your astrology, you probably have a star tetrahedron in there. And you and I will do that when we're off the air
You know,
sometime.
Brian, I'm glad
Yeah.
you said that. In closing, I would like to add, I understand people's affinity. We all have our fields that we play in. I liked music for so many. I'm done, Brian. I'm fucking done with that shit.
No,
I'm
you
done.
should still create. It's
I
still,
mean, I will do that.
still
Yeah. I mean, as far as using music to create a living, that's done. I'm not doing it anymore. I may have another 5 gigs up my sleeve, but I'm done. Now, if I could be in a situation that happens once every so often of a group of people that you don't have to pay me to do, I'm in, right? But I'm into that. That's something I'm into. I will always play music, but I'm done with that.
Hmm. All right. Well, I say you should keep it always,
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's
and
part of what I
because
do.
it is part of you. Yeah.
It is me. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like you have to cook and eat every day, you still have to play music and eat that way. Eat some vibration. It's a vibration
So
thing.
it's a vibrational thing, And what I was going to say a minute before I kind of lost my space was, I just like being, I like being still. It, being around lots of high movement and energy that is, I get it as part of festivity, going to an amusement park, going to a concert, those kind of things. I get it. I love events. But being in oriented nature for so many years, it's like I'm just so done with it. I couldn't, if someone said, "Hey," Brian calls me up, "Hey Keith, you want to go have a beer with a couple of guys?" I'm all into it. Let's go. We get there and we get jawing and truth and rag or gas bagging, and we're talking, we're into it, and then the volume gets louder and everybody gets unconscious and bottles drop and I say bar, but it's not only bar. It's just I like being alone,
Mhm.
for no other reason than the joy that simply springs, wells up in me, in doing so. And I'm sure that you get the same feeling when you're in that studio, and somewhat the pressure is on you, and Brian is twisting those knobs, right? And you're bringing forth this juicy, delicious piece of music. To look back and everybody's just grooving, that's got to be a wonderful feeling.
Mhm. It is. But the all one and alone. That's ALONE, all
Yeah,
one.
right,
Yeah, and
right.
so there we go back to the words again, and you're spelling and casting a spell, you know. And so, you know, yeah, yeah, for me, I just need the creativity. I feel like everything's contagious. So when I surround myself with creativity, I'm more creative, and so I feel as though I have to make something. And if I'm not around people that are making, then I just end up taking in stupid watching TV and movies, and I
Yeah,
no
right.
no ideas.
Let me ask you this, bro, before we disconnect. This is going to be a good one. I'm going to lay this on you
Okay.
pretty heavy. All right. My name is Brian D. Hardin, right? I just had a great recording session today. Late night, drank some wine, got my belly fat. I'm about to lay down, right?
Mhm.
And you zonk out. And you have whatever experiences or not. And then you find yourself coming into the room, waking up from it. Let's say you in California, and you're waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning. So 7 o'clock in the morning, you find that pull begin to happen, pulling you from the astrals into the meat suit. That lull in between.
Mhm.
I'm coming back to the world. We know that place, right?
Mhm.
But when you open your eyes, other than bathroom, scratch yourself, or coffee, where does your desire lie? Not what you think you have to do. I mean, on your day off, in other words, what immediately feels like your staple? I just came into the room today. I just woke up, and this drive to do this thing is at the forefront. What would that be?
All right. So when I'm at my best, when I'm at my best, my habit, just like I said, the habit is that yum and creativity and so on. And so what we also talked about, what you focus on grows, and that if you're, it's contagious. It's contagious within myself. So I have found myself in a depressed state or anxious state or fearful state because I had fearful thoughts running every little tape loop. And so when I'm at my best, the fearful thoughts, the self judgment, the judging others, all that stuff is at a minimum. And I think that Dalai Lama or Deepak Chopra or the Pope doesn't have a depressed bad time? No, everybody has a bad time. It's just the more enlightened or more higher wake up conscious you are, the shorter amount of time you remain in that same negative space. So consciousness for me is being aware that you're aware. And what is your habit? So it goes back to the answer of the question, what's the habit? So when I'm at my best, I'm not in this mode of fear, anxiety, comparison, or judgment or whatever. I'm instead in this place like a little puppy. So I learned from. So every day, if you've got a little puppy, every day the puppy's like, "Whoa, great day! Wow, fantastic! Hey, let's go, sunshine! Take me for a walk, play frisbee, right?" And so when we wake up and we're like, "Whoa, great day!" Well, maybe that's what the energy is that I need for the medicine. And so you can, even with a dog, you can walk out the door, go to your car and come back, and the dog's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in all of 30 seconds.
Right.
Great day," right? So why aren't we living that way? Why aren't we realizing that I could get run over this afternoon or tomorrow or tonight or die of a heart attack? And so this cup of coffee I'm having, why don't I really
It makes it
enjoy
taste so
it?
much more delicious. It
You
makes it
know,
more delicious.
why don't I start to connect to the song that I'm playing? Why don't I start to think and dream of the ideas and share my gifts and get that affluence and abundance and my discernment working and get all this working because I'm helping others and I get joy from helping others. So really that we go back to yum and yuck, yum and yuck. So what am I thinking? So do I try to wake up like the little puppy? Yeah. And so here's what I do. I actually have a couple simple things. We said, everything's perfect even when it's not. And I got this from this one artist that I was working with. His name is Ray Wiley Hubbard. He's a Texas Americana guy. And he said he was going to AA, and what he picked up was this thing that my life is unfolding in goodness. My life is on course. So even when he's in a bad day, in a bad mood, he says that over and over. My life is unfolding in a goodness and my life is on course. So when you start to realize my life is on course, even the worst day, it's on course. You're supposed to have this bad day so that you can get stronger, get better, get bigger, and then move through that. And then you have new ninja skills. And do you need to accept the punch in the face? No. You can learn to, as the punch is coming towards you, you move out of the way and you let the punch go by.
And Brian, that's really the only choice we have.
Yeah.
The punch in the face is coming.
Yeah.
Learning the spiritual dance and the awareness for said karma that we have deployed and employed in an unconscious way is coming. But when we do the work and become aware, we can just simply move out the way. And it gets missed. Something that you said a little earlier, that when I asked you that last question, my apologies, I wasn't clear about it. I want to clarify. When I asked you that when you come out of sleep and you come into your state of physical bedroom awareness, going back to your question about what are you doing to take action about those things. So in other words, Brian comes to the room. Of course, you got to go pay the phone bill or whatever.
Yeah.
That stuff aside, but now it's my turn.
So
what is Brian's puppy dog tail wagging to do?
so when I'm at my best, it's there's body, there's the physical, there's the mental, and then there's the spiritual, and so it's not just one or the other, right? So here's the dumb version of what I like to do. Smile. All right, so here, if I smile, watch you. You're gonna smile too. You're gonna smile too.
Credit.
It's contagious. So I smile, and half the time I'm smiling, and I don't believe it. I have nothing to smile about, and so I try to wake up when I'm at my best. I try to wake up with a smile on my face, just like the little puppy. And so that's the physical. And what happens is, so here, let's do it with me. Do it with me. Just smile, right? And right. So you can feel it in your heart. your heart
Yeah,
unclenched,
it's very
your
connected. I can
breathing
feel it, my
changed.
heart connected to my face. Yes.
Your breathing changed. Your eyes just smiled too, and everything released. It's supposedly less energy to smile than it is to
Yeah.
frown,
Yeah.
right? So yeah. So first thing I do is smile, right? And then that forces me to breathe, and so then I start breathing. So take a couple of deep breaths while you're smiling. Let's just do that, right? So smile, breathe, right? And that forces you automatically to relax. Smile, breathe, relax, smile, breathe, relax. And what's that do? That's the forces you to let go. And you start to let go. So here, your brain can only think of one thing at a time, either yum or yuck. Yum or yuck, positive or negative. Yet when you're thinking of gratitude, of things that you're grateful for, of all the great things you have going in life, you can't think of all the misery you have. You have yum or yuck. So you make a choice. So when I just start with smiling, that's the physical, right? And then the breathing, that's the physical too, but it starts to get the emotions and all the energy start to flow, right? So smile, breathe, relax, and then let go. And so what happens is all that energy starts flowing mentally, physically, spiritually. It all starts opening up. And so the dumbest thing I have to tell you is smile. And then yum, and then let's stay with that, and then let's, like the dog, wag your tail and just see what happens. Approach the day with that, and does that help? Is that what we're going for? It's the feeling.
It's a feeling.
Yeah,
Every being in the universe seeks liberation.
yeah,
Though it may look like handcuffs or prison bars, it's really a feeling. Many people are not free, for example, incarcerated. But they read the Bible enough, they read the Quran enough, they read the Bhagavad Gita enough. They were seeking liberation, and those bars and those prisons cannot contain them. And
no.
just the opposite in the real world. We consider ourselves to be free. Doesn't necessarily mean so.
I did this incredible interview with one of the founders of the United Nations. His name was Robert Mueller. He was in his last years of life. His health was still pretty good. And a friend of mine asked me to come over to his house and interview not only him, but a guy named Father Charlie Moore. And Father Charlie Moore, Maoore, Father Charlie Moore, you can look him up. He was a Catholic priest, and he was brilliant, awesome dude. And he finally went beyond Catholicism and went to more of universal religion. But he always pushed the edges of everything. And I'm asked to interview them
I
both
like him already.
I'm asked to interview them both separately. And my friend asked me to, so I drive up. I have no idea who either one of these guys are. And I look them up on my phone as I'm driving up to meet them for the first time. One's like 80 and the other one's like 86. But they're both brilliant guys on the cutting edge. And I'm asked to interview them. And they say, so what do you, and I said, I don't want to interview each of you individually. I want to do both of you at the same time, because I had enough cameras that I could actually ask one of them a question, and they'd both go back and forth. And so what happened was they both ended up telling a one-up story. They tell a little 2-minute story, then the other guy would too, back and forth, and it was brilliant. They talked about peace, harmony, laughter, love, joy, innocence, fearlessness, gratitude, brilliant concepts. And we kept it vague. Well, the guy who started the United Nations, Robert Mueller, he was in a concentration camp. He was put in a concentration camp. And while he's in this concentration camp, on his first day, everybody's packed in there like sardines. They barely have enough air to breathe. It's cold, cold, cold. And the people on the outside of the room are freezing. People on the inside are sweating. And so they just started doing this dance and working together in harmony. And he found a little piece of coal on the ground, and there was a white wall. So he started writing this thing and involved everybody to write this beautiful poem and this beautiful story about how beautiful the day is. And it's a beautiful sunshiny day, and we're at the beach. And then everybody started putting in their ideas, and they're dreaming this story. And the story was this incredible movie they're all writing together as a community. And most of the people in that jail cell were let out within the day. And he decided, I have to create United Nations because we cannot be doing this. We can't do this in the world. And so Father Charlie, Robert Mueller, had a harmonica, and he would grab his little harmonica and play Ode to Joy on a harmonica. Anytime
Wow.
in the United Nations, anytime things would get heated and they're arguing back and forth, he would just grab his harmonica and start playing Ode to Joy on the harmonica. In the middle of them screaming and yelling at each other, he would play Ode to Joy, and everybody would stop and go, oh, we forgot to love one another. We forgot the unity.
Wow.
We forgot to listen.
Wow.
And that's Robert Mueller. Look him up. And he wrote brilliant quotes, really brilliant books. So little did I know that would be one of his last interviews. And it's online on my KNEWWAYS, New Ways. And KNEWWAYS is my YouTube channel. And if you look up, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. So Robert Mueller and Father Charlie Moore. And so Charlie Moore was a brilliant guy also. It turns out Father Charlie, before we did the interview, I had never met him before in my life. He puts his face right near mine and he looks me in the eyes and he says, are you going to be responsible with this information? Yeah. He says, are you going to share it with the world? Yeah. He says, well, I'm going to give it to you then. And the interview was for 2.5 hours. And these two elder men battled back and forth with great story after great story. And it's a brilliant interview. Father Charlie Moore died 3 weeks later, and he was in great health. Gone. And so we don't know when we're going to die. So you start appreciating the cup of coffee. Start loving one another. Start helping each other out. And you know, right now you're abundant. You're affluent. And so everything you do is to help people out. I see you do it. You're helping people wake up and to share, and you're sharing your gifts. Don't cut your music off, because that's part of your gifts. You know,
I just want to change the way that I'm doing it. And I need a breath from that for a while.
Yeah.
And then I can reinvent myself creatively, music-wise, because I love music. In fact, before you and I leave this fucking planet, I am going to come to California and we're going to hang out. But we're going to have at least a week of a musical experience, whether we write songs on the spot. But yeah, I would never leave the creative aspect of music, but leaving the monetary system of looking for it in everything that it all entails, and the clubs and the management, the late hours and the setting up and the tear down. I don't think I'm better than that. I paid those dues. It's just run its course, honestly, for me.
A friend of mine did
no
that
longer
in Hawaii recently, and he came with 3 song ideas. And after just 4 days, we had 12 songs finished. He's like,
Right.
how did we do it that fast? And how
Right.
we did it that fast was innocence, fearlessness, gratitude. He was just in this place of openness, and ideas kept flowing through. And as one in his judgment of those ideas, he let go, you know? And so he just kept letting things go, and suddenly his flow opened up. So it can work. So come and
Let go into the flow. Brian, thank you, brother. I love
Thank
you, man. You're a beautiful puppy dog wagging its tail. I love it. You just
All
like
right.
me.
Well, I love you. Thanks so much.
Blessings, my friend, everyone.
Bless-
Hanging out with the Brian D. Hardin, Horseshoes, Bullshit, and Hand Grenades.
All right.
Just a silly title to use as stepping stones to chit chat. Everyone, good to see you. Going to be taking a break for a while. I'll be seeing you probably come Monday night. Peace, love, and live in the light, because that's what you are.